Good morning. Today we publish a white paper on immigration, a strategy absolutely central to my plan for change that will finally take back control of our borders and close the book on a squalid chapter for our politics, our economy, and our country.
Keir Starmer stepped onto the stage looking sharp and determined, like a man with a clear plan. At first glance, it all felt like real leadership, polished, confident, and strong. But if you listened closely, a different picture emerged. He said a lot, but didn't actually say much. No bold policies, no new commitments. Just a tightly rehearsed performance designed to look like leadership without actually doing anything. Every line was carefully worded, every promise vague. The truth underneath? He's not trying to change the system, just the way it sounds. Now, let's break down the promises he made, and why none of them hold up.
We do have to ask why parts of our economy seem almost addicted to importing cheap labour, rather than investing in the skills of people who are here and want a good job in their community. Sectors like engineering, where visas have rocketed while apprenticeships have plummeted. Is that fair to Britain? Is that fair to young people, weighing up their future to miss out on those apprentices? To see colleges in their community almost entirely dedicated to one-year courses for overseas students? No, I don't think that it is. And truth be told, I don't think anybody does. Yet that is the Britain this broken system has created. So as this white paper sets out, every area of the immigration system, work, family and study, will be tightened up so we have more control. Skill requirements raised to degree level. English language requirements across all routes, including for dependents. The time it takes to acquire settled status extended from 5 years to 10. And enforcement tougher than ever, because fair rules must be followed. Now, make no mistake, this plan means migration will fall. That's a promise. But I want to be very clear on this. If we do need to take further steps, if we do need to do more to release pressure on housing and our public services, then mark my words.
What you just watched wasn't real leadership. It was a well-rehearsed illusion. Keir Starmer spoke like he was finally facing tough truths, talking about cheap labor, struggling youth, and a broken immigration system. But here's the catch. None of it means anything if there's no real action behind it. Yes, he mentioned technical tweaks, skills tests, English requirements, longer settlement periods, but those are just distractions. They don't reduce immigration. They don't protect British workers. They don't secure the borders. They simply create more red tape while the core issue remains untouched. That's the strategy. Talk tough, sound serious, but do nothing meaningful. While he pretends to take control, the numbers keep rising, the system keeps growing, and the country continues to change without your consent. Starmer says the system is broken, but he's not trying to fix it. He's trying to manage the optics. Everything in that speech was about image, not real solutions. He's not cracking down. He's covering up. Not one policy he announced will change who's coming in, how many are coming in, or who's being left behind. It's a performance, plain and simple. If you're finding this breakdown useful, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe for more no-nonsense coverage of what's really happening in British politics. Let's keep going.
But it's not just about numbers, because the chaos of the previous government also changed the nature of immigration in this country. Fewer people who make a strong economic contribution, more who work in parts of our economy that put downward pressure on wages. So perhaps the biggest shift in this white paper is that we will finally honour what take back control meant and begin to choose who comes here so that migration works for our national interests.
Now, Starmer wants you to believe this isn't just about immigration numbers. It's about the type of people coming in. Suddenly, he's acting like the real problem isn't how many, but who. He's pitching it as if he's raising the bar, bringing in only those who benefit the economy. But don't be fooled, it's all for show. He's not actually choosing who comes in. The system is still wide open. The flow hasn't slowed. He's not fixing anything. He's just giving it a new label and hoping you won't notice. While he talks about national interest and higher standards, the reality on the ground hasn't changed. Wages are still under pressure. Public services are still stretched. Housing is still harder to afford. And yes, the very people he says aren't contributing are still being waved through. This isn't control. This isn't a reset. It's PR, pure and simple. Starmer isn't changing the direction of the country. He's just changing the wording in the script. But for everyday people, the impact is still the same. More migration, more strain, and more empty promises from the top.
You know, this is where the whole debate is skewed. As if some people think controlling immigration is reining in a sort of natural freedom, rather than the basic and reasonable responsibility of government to make choices that work for a nation's economy. And for years, this seems to have muddled our thinking. But let me be clear, it ends now. We will create a migration system that is controlled, selective, and fair. A clean break with the past that links access to visas directly to investment in homegrown skills. So that if a business wants to bring people in from abroad, they must first invest in Britain. But also, so settlement becomes a privilege that is earned, not a right. Easier if you make a contribution, if you work, pay in, and help rebuild our...
Starmer knows people are frustrated. That's why he's now using words like control and fairness to sound tough on immigration. But it's all for show. He's still allowing in hundreds of thousands just with a new label. Nothing's being shut down. Selective and earned settlement are just buzzwords to distract from the fact that nothing's really changing. His plan doesn't cut immigration. It just makes it sound more organized. There are no real penalties for companies that ignore the rules. It's all about managing public opinion, not fixing the problem. While he performs, the numbers keep rising, and the public keeps being
People may even be against that. But I think for the vast majority of people in this country, that is what they have long wanted to see. An immigration system that is fair, that works for our national interest, and that restores common sense and control to our borders. That is what this white paper will deliver. Lower net migration, higher skills, backing British workers. The start of repairing our social contract, which the chaos and cynicism of the last government did so much to undermine.
This is where Starmer tries to sound like he's in charge, like his immigration plan is exactly what the country's been waiting for. But let's be honest, he uses words like fairness, national interest, and common sense. Sounds firm, but nothing's changed. Migration is still high. British workers aren't better off. He hasn't fixed the system. He's just rebranded it. Calling this the start of something serious is laughable. It's not a bold new plan, it's just political packaging. The system stays broken, the numbers stay high, and the only thing getting repaired is his public image. It looked like leadership. It sounded good. But it achieved nothing.
Chris Hope, GB News. Prime Minister, we've been here before, haven't we? There have been 3 immigration acts since 2014. The Immigration Act in 2014 and 2016 both aimed to reduce immigration. They both failed. Why on earth should GB News viewers think you're going to succeed? And why not give us a promise right now? Why give us a fixed target right now, not a promise, so we can judge you on success? The Tories at least did that, but they failed.
Well, look, the difference here, this is the most comprehensive plan that has been put forward. It's been forward to end the Tory sort of wide open borders experiment that we have had. You're right about that. And it looks at all routes and it's comprehensive. And it does the hard yards of linking skills and business to what we need to do with the economy. So it's not a narrow look just at the numbers. It puts them in their proper context. On the question, which we do want to significantly reduce migration, I'm absolutely making clear that's what it will do, and that if we need to go further, we will. So that's the promise I make to your viewers. I don't think it's sensible to put a hard-edged cap on it. That has been done in one form or another for the best part of 10 years by different prime ministers. The only thing that links those prime ministers and the various caps or quotas or limits they put in place is every single one of them failed. And therefore, going down the failed route is not a sensible way for me. As with everything that I do, serious, pragmatic, looking at the things that will actually make...
Like that, the mask came off. Starmer was finally asked the one question that really matters. Can you give us a real promise? A number? A cap? Something solid we can hold you to? He had every chance to show leadership. Every chance to say, yes, we'll bring it down to this level. Judge me on that. But he didn't. Instead, he dodged. He gave a vague answer about context, skills, and business. That's not leadership. That's a politician avoiding accountability because he knows he won't deliver. And when he said caps don't work because others tried and failed, that was the clearest signal yet. He's already setting up an excuse. He knows migration will keep rising. So he's blaming the past in advance, justifying failure before it even happens. That's not strength. That's retreat.